Ladies and gentlemen of the Poet Warriors, I am the Bibby. Welcome your faces back to another little tasteful acting performance snack, if you will. You will have. Today I would like to talk about something that I know we say this in every acting snack, but arguably it very well could be the most important part to performance, right? Today I would like to be talking about, to your faces, silence and subsequently pace of a scene. I'm going to be talking about acting, like, performance art. You could be talking about music, it's relevant. I'm sure you could fix it into literature as well. I'm going to speak on acting, because that's my shtick. Silence is a tool used by few, mastered by even fewer. I think silence is the true determination of one's, when we talk about mastery of craft, when it comes to performance and acting. I think silence shows your chops. It's a very underused tool in an actor's tool belt, and it should be used far more, right? A lot of actors, a lot of directors even will tell you to go straight to the lines. Not to rush. No one's going to tell you to rush, right? You need to take your time. That's a whole different discipline. But to read between the lines and find these pauses, find these acts of silence that ultimately elevates a scene far beyond its capability, right? Or even increases that skill level of an actor further beyond his immediate impression. I don't know. Helga's barking. Helga agrees with me. Real acting comes between the lines. Real acting comes in that silence, right? Acting isn't easy, right? But it's easier to go straight to those lines. It's easier to just stand up there, say some lines. It's easier to, even if you do it very, very well, it's easy to go through the script, propel the story, right? Propel the character development. The real acting comes in that silence when nothing's going on, right? That's when you can see an actor really show his chops. That shows his creativity and his level of investment into his character, right? A lot of actors, even in those moments of silences, they'll drop their characters, right? And then they'll come back to life in their characters when they have something to say. The real actors are those ones in the background that are holding their characters in the silence. What are their mannerisms? What are they doing? How are they reacting? Right? And then those ones that take it even further are the ones that find those moments of silence within their own dialogue. How does that impact the actors around us? How does that develop your character? How does that show emotion, right? Which it can show a lot of emotion. If you take let's say a 20-second moment of silence in the middle of a monologue or something, just to behave as your character. Obviously, it needs to have meaning. Like, it needs to be purposefully put in there. It needs to work. It needs to fit, right? The Revenant. The Revenant is a very good example of this. At least the first hour and a half of The Revenant. Very, very silent film. Very, very slow pacing, right? In these moments of silence, in this first hour, we can see the character. We can see the character away from his interaction with people, right? We can see his mannerisms, see his thought process, see how he's developing, see what's going on in his mind as he's, trying to survive the wilderness, right? If you haven't seen Revenant, go watch Revenant. We've done a capsule review, go watch that. It's an amazing movie. Leonardo DiCaprio, probably his best work. Silence is entertaining. Silence slows the pace down of the film too, which equally is important. People want to be invested in the moment. It allows the actors to be more in the moment. It allows the audience to take a breather and realign themselves with what's going on. I find it more entertaining. I mean, a lot of, when we're talking about art and performance art in movies, I feel like that, they should be slower, more slower paced, more artistic, then when you compare it to something like, Marvel or something, movies that aren't really art, it's just a load of crap, fan service, then obviously those are a lot faster paced because, people want to get into it and feel the action, But no, I mean, there's that you need to not rush. As an actor, you want to take these moments to reinvest the audience, right? If they're just sitting there listening to a bunch of lines, it can be refreshing to see, oh, hang on, they might step forward, what's going on here? This is clearly something powerful, clearly something important to this character that I'm watching. I feel like a famous example of this is this a dagger that I see before me, right? Some people do that monologue very well. Most people do, obviously, the chops, right? Like, that's an impressive monologue to do. How about you take a moment, though? I've seen very few performances of is this a dagger that I see before me. I think the only one that I've seen that was actually like, whoa, was Patrick Stewart. Love Patrick Stewart, dude. Go Trek. He did that performance with the Shakespeare with the Shakespeare company that, like, I'm pretty sure he's like was one of the founding heads of. Take that moment, create your surroundings, create that atmosphere, create the surroundings around you, right? Is this a dagger before me? Why don't you take a moment and, visualize, construct, especially when there's imaginary objects there. I know that's a bad example of that, but take a moment to create that atmosphere, create the importance on that object in front of you, right? Is this a dagger that I see before me? Like, create that, guys, hello, there's a dagger here. This shit's important, That's another way that you can utilize silence, is to signify importance of something, an act or a possession, what have you, right? Use silence, guys. Silence is entertaining, silence is refreshing, silence refocuses the audience, and it shows your chops. Because the real acting comes between those lines. Everyone can just say lines. Not everyone can behave on instinct. Okay? Explore it. See how far you can get.
Tasty.